Parashat Vayechi begins with the words, "And Jacob lived in Egypt." But here's the thing. This whole portion is about his death. So why does it start with the word life? What's going on here? Our sages in the Talmud say something that sounds completely impossible. Yaakov Avinu lo met, meaning Jacob our father did not die. But wait a second. The Torah itself describes his passing, his funeral, and his burial in great detail. So how can he not have died? Because Vayechi isn't really about physical life and death. It's about a much deeper question. Does our faith survive when we're in exile? When we feel constricted and far from home? The real test is not whether Jacob's body lives, but whether his spirit, his truth, continues to live on. Let's dive into the story. Jacob is in Egypt. Now, in Hebrew, Egypt is Mitzrayim, which comes from the word mitzah, meaning a narrow place, a constriction. It's not just a geographical location. It's a spiritual state of being. Jacob feels trapped, far from the land he was promised. And in this moment, the Midrash tells us something incredible happened. Jacob gathered his sons, wanting to reveal to them the secrets of the end of days, the ultimate redemption. But just as he was about to speak, the divine presence, the Shekhinah, withdrew from him. He couldn't see the future anymore. Why? Why would God do that at such a crucial moment? The Lubavitcher Rebbe explains this profound idea. He teaches that faith that depends on having all the answers, on seeing everything clearly, isn't really faith at all. True faith, true emunah, shines brightest precisely when the vision fades. When we're left in the dark with only our trust to guide us. God tested Jacob. Would he still believe in the redemption, even if he couldn't see it? Would he still trust the promise, even when the divine vision was gone? That was Jacob's final, and perhaps greatest test. He had to live by faith, not by sight. His mission was to plant the seeds of that unbreakable faith into his children, into all of us, so that we could carry it through our own long exile. Now, let's look at the Hebrew word for "and he lived," which is Vayechi. It starts with the letter V of Ave. In Hebrew, V of A is a connector. It's like the word "and" there. It links things together. What this teaches us is that Jacob's life was uninterrupted interrupted or broken by his move to Egypt. The VOV connects his time in the Holy Land with his time in exile. Egypt didn't disconnect him from his purpose or his God. In the mystical teachings of Kabbalah, each of the patriarchs corresponds to a different divine quality. Jacob represents Tiferet, which means beauty, harmony, and balance. It's his job to connect the spiritual truths of heaven with the physical reality of earth. And he did that even in Egypt. His life wasn't defined by his location, but by his connection to the divine truth. By being that bridge, even in Mitzrayim, he truly lived. As women, I think we can understand this idea on a very deep level. So much of our lives are spent living in this space of faith without control. We pour our hearts into raising children, nurturing futures that we may never get to see fully realized. We make blessings over our families, speaking hope into situations filled with uncertainty. We trust in promises even when we can't see the results right away. Look at what Jacob does next. He calls for Joseph's two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, to bless them. But he does something strange. He crosses his hands, placing his right hand, the hand of greater blessing, on the head of Ephraim, the younger son, and his left hand on Manasseh, the older one. Joseph protests. "Not so, my father," he says. "This is against custom, against logic, against the natural order of things." But Jacob insists. He says he knows what he's doing. "He too shall become a people," he says of Manasseh, "but his younger brother shall be greater than he." Faith doesn't always follow the rules of logic. It follows a deeper destiny, a divine plan that we can't always see. It requires us to trust even when things look upside down. There's another secret hidden in this parasha. If you look at a Torah scroll, you'll see that Vayechi is a parasha sitma, a sealed or closed portion, or life. Unlike most other sections, there's no large space in the text, separating it from the previous one. It just runs right on. Why is it sealed? The Mishnah teaches us a powerful lesson. Do not look at the vessel, but at what is inside it. On the outside, Vayechi looks like an ending. The story seems closed. Heaven feels silent. The scroll itself gives us no room to breathe. But it's precisely in those moments, when the space disappears and we feel most constricted, that God is most present. The closure isn't a sign of absence, but a sign of intense, hidden presence.